Stephen A. finally addresses Jason Whitlock. Let's not even waste a second. Let's play what Stephen A. had to say, then we're going to come back and react to it.
Things worked out, though. Those young writers comprehensively refused to work with him. So did big-name ESPNers like Howard Bryant, Jamel Hill, and Stephen A. Smith. I couldn't write, huh? While you were on Blaze TV, spewing that bullshit to people. Did you tell them that? Did you tell them how you stood outside of First Take begging me to talk to you? Did you tell them that once this same article in Deadspin came out, weeks later you wrote a lengthy apology to me in an email, begging me to forgive you, pointing out how you were betrayed by this particular writer, so you know how I must feel that you betrayed me? Did you tell the folks that, you bitch? Did you tell them? You fat piece of shit. Did you tell them that? Got the names. We got Jamel Hill. We got Howard Bryant. You want me to bring up the other writers that wouldn't work for you? Why it took you nearly 2 years to get an article out? Because you ran that shit so bad you were running it into the ground? What a disgrace you were to John Skipper, the former boss of ESPN, or the host of others. You want me to talk about that? Because I got receipts. I got the email. Want me to talk about that? Now, just for everybody that wants to understand, how could this possibly be? Because once upon a time, I actually tried to speak up for this damn cretin. I knew he was a piece of shit. But I said, look, maybe he's misunderstood.
So there you have it. And man, yesterday Stephen A. went to his Instagram and he dropped a little snippet of this whole thing, this 40-minute beatdown, right? And he only posted the fact that he had to call his pastor to apologize in advance for what he was about to do. And then he called him a bitch. And I was like, man, I know he's mad. I know he has no respect for Jason Whitlock, but it's still Stephen A. Like, he's ESPN. He's Walt Disney. So for him to call him a bitch, I was like, okay, it's about to get real. So after checking this 50-minute beatdown, I gotta say, first off, it was entertaining. I don't think in my life I've ever seen someone going as hard for as long on someone. So it was entertaining. Let's start there. Now, what he actually said about Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock had came out, about Stephen A. allegedly not writing his book, not getting a scholarship, never playing basketball, or at least lying about his college basketball career. I thought it was water gun stuff that didn't really do anything. And this, Stephen A. came in with some receipts and he actually exposed some stuff. He exposed the fact that Jason Whitlock was struggling, moving funny, moving like Stephen A. was this guy and everything, that no one wanted to work with him. He begged Stephen A. for a job. Stephen A. said no. Then when Stephen A. once got fired, Jason Whitlock was the one writing down articles to pretty much keep Stephen A. out of a job. And then once Stephen A. got back, Jason Whitlock came right back to beg for a job. And then Stephen A. said, fuck no. So that's a very, very bad look, obviously. We all know people who move funny like that in real life. And I understand why Stephen A. Smith would feel that way about Jason Whitlock. I also got to say that sometimes Stephen A. Smith comes off as that he's not always super credible when he comes off on his podcast and he starts telling these big stories, name dropping people and everything, or he comes out with files that he won't read because he's better than that. That's not always credible, but this time I believe 100% everything that he said. Just by the look up in his eyes, you can tell that he meant the hate that he had for Jason Whitlock and that there was a real resentment over some stuff that happened in the past. Plus, this time, he took that name dropping stuff so far. Like, he literally name dropped any name that you could think of in the industry. And that's way too risky for Stephen A. to go out there and lie over some Jason Whitlock while name dropping all these people. He has to say facts, because do you imagine any of these people can have an interview tomorrow and this whole podcast about Stephen A. Smith going in on Jason Whitlock will go so viral that all of these guys' names will be asked a question about Stephen A versus Jason Whitlock anytime they go on the interview or something. So if Stephen A were to lie, he would just leave himself wide open for no reason. So I think he told the truth. Now, on the short term, Stephen A. Smith might look like the winner. That's going to hurt Jason Whitlock's credibility, obviously. It was entertaining. He's going to get a lot of views. A lot of us strive of negativity, let's be honest. The Cat Williams interview, for example, while super entertaining, it was still a beatdown of a lot of people on air, and it's going to be the most watched interview of all time, you know? So Stephen A. Smith is going to get some views in the short term. In the long term, I don't think it's going to help Stephen A. Smith one bit. Here's why. He did it to Jason Whitlock, a guy that I know he has his fan base, but in the big sports media world realm, his fan base is pretty niche. But compared to a guy like Stephen A. Smith, is as irrelevant as possible. Super irrelevant. Like Stephen A. Smith's fans, some of them don't even know who Jason Whitlock is. They wouldn't even know that he has a show unless Stephen A. Smith did something like this. They wouldn't even know. And Stephen A. Smith, you know, like he always tends to get into beefs with people over his opinions, over his strong takes and everything. And as soon as he's corners, he likes to hide behind the fact that he's good, that he means good to his brothers, that he wouldn't take it that far and everything. But after this, all of the conspiracies about Stephen A. Smith doing shady stuff behind the scenes, having the power to blackball people, having the power to pretty much erase people from the media realm and everything, they're kind of confirmed. Like now they look as real as they ever been, because I didn't think Stephen A. Smith had this in him until this interview. I kind of like the fact that he was honest and that he showed his true colors on TV. I respect the honesty, but now, like, you know, if a guy's like Marcellus Wiley, for example, and I know he likes Jason Whitlock, but if he goes on his show and he starts going crazy at Stephen A. Smith can go on the Breakfast Club and be like, oh yeah, so for you to say that about a black man, that you question my intelligence, damn, bro, that's a shame. After what you just put on display, you can't get that off Stephen A. Smith. You can't. Every time Stephen A. Smith finna say something in the public, people are going to point right at that interview and they're going to say, you were the same guy who went in 50 minutes on a guy, on a brother, like you like to say. So I don't think Stephen A. Smith wins in the long term. Again, the interview, it's not even the interview, the podcast has been out for less than a day and it's already almost at 1 million views. So it's going to get numbers. His subscribers has risen a lot ever since then. He's gonna get on all the blogs and everything. But long term, man, I don't know about this move. Just because it's Jason Whitlock. If he had beef with a super big name, like for example, if him and Shannon have a fall off, and then he has to really go crazy on Shannon, and he comes in, that's Shannon Sharp. That's kind of quote unquote worth it. But for you to go that low for a guy that's not even in your stratosphere, I don't know about that move strategically long term. This is why guys in this corner, such as Shannon Sharp, I've told him, man, stop giving these people your platform. Stop doing so, because you're not winning. Jason Whitlock, he might actually get a W, because I don't think that Jason Whitlock fans, they care or they would be swayed in any ways by what Stephen A. Smith would have to say about Jason Whitlock. And the public opinion about Jason Whitlock is already pretty negative, I want to say. So it's not like Stephen A. Smith actually will change the way people view Jason Whitlock. I think most people who actually know about Jason Whitlock, they either like him already and they're on that side, or they hated him already and they're going to stay. They're just going to have more ammo now to be like, Jason Whitlock, just sit down somewhere. So anyways, these are my thoughts. Get in that comment section and tell me, what did you think about this whole spill that Stephen A. Smith went on about Jason Whitlock? Do you think it's a good look? Do you think it's a bad look? What do you think this does for both of these guys' careers? I appreciate you guys for checking me out. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later with another episode. Peace.